symbol, which I think you've got right there. Yeah.
It's got a few tabs on it.
Yeah, these are the things that changes you propose, just in red here. I marked those at 2:00 this morning.
You didn't find my secret hidden proposal.
I watched the movie
Double
355. These are these women.
Double
There was
secret,
a
yeah.
movie, it's apparently, they said Washington had women who were secret agents and they didn't give the names. They had the number, 355? So this movie was about secret agents from like 4 different countries. A lot of blood, see, I like that. I like people killed. So I was watching that while I was going through this. 355.
Let's get commercial. All right. We'll agree to your proposal for Article 1, Lear, that recognition, but we tweaked it a little bit to add a couple of things that I think you missed, but we would think that you'd want to look at ours that's on page 1 of our proposal, but to the extent that it's, you don't like it, let me know, but I think it's yours. But I think there was 1 or 2 places where you did not mark one of the appropriate places where those words need to be. So that's all we did. We didn't take anything out of yours. But so anyways, your proposal. We'll
Yeah, I
agree to.
think it's the same thing.
Yeah, I think we caught those
Yeah,
at some point.
yeah.
We want to make sure that we get the Title IX stuff that's on page 5 and 6 of our proposal under Article 6. However, we're willing to modify it. Your concern that you raised was, being able to file a grievance. We'll amend it. We won't do it today. We'll revise it to the extent that the outcome of the investigation, if somebody wants to challenge the result of that, they can grieve that.
But not until we get to a result. So you can't go into with a representative when you have a Title IX issue at all? You're on your own until you have a result, and then you can
You
come back?
would have your investigation performed by the Title IX officer, which federal law requires that it be done that way. But your
But you couldn't
concern
have a
was,
representative with you.
right.
That's what
Have a
bothers me.
Representative in the Title IX process.
No.
Look at the language.
That's what
I don't think
concerned
we
me
said
about
in
that.
there.
I don't think we said that.
Hold on a minute.
Well, that's what,
You're saying the process doesn't allow.
right, because a grievance allows you to have a rep, but if we can't grieve, then we can still bring a
We
representative.
not said that, I don't know what the process
I
is
think
on.
you can bring a representative. It's online.
So I wish Karen were here. Can we get there?
Yeah, we had 3
We've
meetings
had
with Maggie,
problems with that.
Maggie, what's her name?
Maggie.
We had 3 hour-long meetings with her, and she described some of that. So
And Karen had an issue and she could only go in, she could only be there 20 minutes. She could only take notes. She couldn't, it was really insane. the
Yeah, there was something
restrictions,
like
and She
that.
could not take anyone
Oh, you're
with
talking
her.
about like 3, 4 years, 5 years ago.
We'll look at those
Yeah.
procedures.
Yeah.
We want to address
Okay.
those concerns. but-
Because that's
so-
my concern is
Yeah,
having
we'll
a
address- I don't know
representative
what-
with you.
We can discuss that further, but we understand what you're saying now. I didn't understand first.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just concerned that you go in by yourself and you don't have your attorney or your union,
Right.
but I don't know about.
Okay, well, I'll make a note. We'll look at that and get back with you. on that.
Thank you.
Okay, page 9 of ours on Article 8, I think it's what you all wanted, and if you look at lines 537 to 538 of our proposals, what you proposed, we'll agree to that in Article 8. That's on page 9 of our proposal. Bob. That's just in the end right there.
37, yeah.
We'll agree to that. And then, the personnel file, look at page 18 of ours. We kind of addressed your concerns. I think it was what you were talking about, Steve, earlier.
Yeah.
On the personnel file, page 18,
Mhm.
Article 11, we propose our proposal. And which says that if an evaluation files are online, the employee will be given access to them following processes similar to those outlined above in the paper files. It's the FIS, the FIS, is that what you'll refer to it as?
Yes.
The FIS system.
The Archivum FIS. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're just saying our proposal on Article 11, we're counter proposing it back to you, which I think addresses some of the same concerns that
Okay,
you
well-
raised. It's on page 18 of our proposal,
I'm gonna look
Steve, if you want to look. Okay. So, moving on, discipline, which is your proposal, you proposed for Article 16. Ours is on, I think, page 26. Let's double check, see if I'm right on that.
Yeah, we had some serious problem with the video meeting. I mean, I don't know why,
What, yeah, is there a problem?
I just don't see how I have a video meeting and that you're gonna go ahead, basically, and, I mean, what are you telling person? I want you to have a video meeting with you because we're gonna upload discipline. I mean, what are you gonna tell them? I don't see why we have to, we never had video meetings like this before ever. I don't understand why you have a video meeting.
Well, we do everything on Teams now. Isn't that what we're talking about?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Is there a problem with the teams?
We do everything on Teams, the way the world is.
So you're gonna have somebody on team, what are you gonna tell them? We'd like to meet you on Teams, so about what? We're gonna discipline you, so
You invite them to teams meeting and then,
can you tell them ahead of time what it's gonna be? I had
Yeah,
email sent to a university employee during a video meeting. I mean,
Bill for the purpose.
when they're
of
sitting at a
delivering
video
such-
meeting, then
just
you're
a
gonna send an
notice
email.
delivery.
Yes, you can say, we're gonna have a meeting, whether it's in person or in Teams.
Well, I think in person, I frankly think it's better in person if you're gonna go ahead and
You
give.
don't want to allow the option of having a
Well,
teams
it's not an
meeting?
option. It looks to me like the university just say, hey, we expect you to be at this meeting and you don't know what it's for, and then guess what? I'm disciplining you. I don't know. Here's a notice.
Or, so you can do one or the other. I mean, we would expect that
You got certified mail, return receipt requested, or delivered in person with written documentation of receipt obtained. Okay. Now we've added this other method.
So if you're talking in a Teams call, you send them the notice during the Teams call and verify that they've received it.
Just an alternate way of
It's
getting it
just
to
an
the
optional
person.
way of getting the notice. It's,
Well, what do you
I
all
think it
think
would be
about that
easier
as
for
an
the
optional
employee.
method? I mean, I don't.
you don't want to do that?
You would include a representative in that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
If it's a disciplinary.
just like you
meeting,
would, yeah, if it was disciplinary.
Yeah.
Okay.
that doesn't
So
trump that.
you're gonna get an email saying, we want a video meeting with you this afternoon because we're gonna discipline you. I don't know. I mean,
You can get that,
Just
someone
feels
can
weird.
knock on your door and tell you that same thing.
well, I would, yes, well, they just
What's the
deliver it to
difference?
me and I
It
can
seems to be
sit
for
down.
ease of delivery of a message. It could be, you think that it may be helpful to them not have to come to the actual locus of a meeting and to discuss it from the, in home, in a team's call.
And they can have their UFF rep on the team.
So why would that be a problem?
It's different.
I'd like to ask you, you're gonna be disciplined. Would you rather go ahead and get a certified mail? Or would you rather have somebody just hand it to you? Or would you rather be on a video call? Is it gonna be recorded?
Sorry, I'd rather.
Everything's done that way.
I would rather have it handed to me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, me
It's a little
too.
more personal. It gives me a chance to think and respond.
You don't have to respond to
But I'm
Yeah.
required to.
You can cry, you can go and cry yourself without people watching you.
It's just a notice.
Sorry.
that. I mean, to me, we do everything on Teams now. We deliver all kinds of things, good and bad, via Teams. We seem to be using Teams right now.
Sure, we meet.
Seems to work okay.
They're not gonna discipline us, are you
Oh,
today?
All I'm saying
Yeah,
is,
you
Just a
what
letter of
would you
counsel.
rather do? I would rather get something in writing.
I don't know, I still haven't
Look
found
at
my.
it
Give me the page
Contract.
number now.
without
I'm on
any formal
page 26.
Okay,
commitment.
I took me a minute to pull it up, sorry.
That's me.
So December 17th,
Well,
is that when the email?
This
said?
is.
Yeah,
an
December
or
17th.
situation.
Yeah, it's not,
It's got an or there before it.
It's not
So what we're saying is that,
critical to me as long
you
as,
know,
as
there are
long
a
as I
lot
have
of
a record
people,
of it.
Yeah.
because of my generation, that I'm in, I don't necessarily like teams all the time. I'm not used to them. But it seems to me that most folks today, they're very tech savvy. It's a very common form of communication. is the use of Teams, or even before, it used to be before emails, you had to have snail mail.
But let's
So
say,
everything's moving in the
let's say
direction.
you send me a note, you wanna talk to me, and I'm not computer connected for a week. And all of a sudden you say, well, didn't you get our message? Well, some of us don't wanna be tied to the computer all our life.
Well, if they don't accept the invitation, there would be no Teams.
Well, but then you need to be able to say to a person, you do not have to accept this invitation, but we're showing good faith by inviting you. And the person can say yes or no.
Well, see, it says a video meeting held for the purpose of delivering a such notice. So it seems to me you're gonna have to tell the person, I need to have a meeting with you today, a video meeting, because I want to give you a notice of suspension or termination.
Yes,
You're gonna put that in the friggin' notice.
yes, yes.
If I was that person, I'd have a computer
Of
problem.
course you'd want to do that.
No, I'd have a computer
We
problem.
have plenty of people who forget to pick up the certified mail and.
Then you have hand delivery.
Yeah, they avoid that.
Hand delivery then, it says hand
Well, then
delivery.
they're like suddenly impossible to find, you know.
Well, if you're teaching class, I would
I
just
haven't
wait
paid
for
my
class.
cable bill.
I think there's some
I just don't know.
ex-presidential aides that have been hard to find. They try to get on
I
planes.
think
and
a
go.
person's gonna be upset
Go to
enough
Europe.
without being on video. I just-
Anyway, that's our proposal.
Okay.
You know, and then also,
We have-
on the other hand, Bob, we are, your proposal on the counseling
Yeah.
session, we'll agree to that in there. Okay, that, we'll put that in there. Then, that's the article on that. Let's go to the
Which
next
number
one.
was that?
Yeah, what number was that?
That was Article 11 on personnel files, but on discipline is Article 16. And we just talked about Article 26, but we would add their proposal on
It's
you know,
on,
the counseling, bit that you put on the table.
it's on your page 42,
Yeah. Yeah, good for it too.
and we'll add that.
Now, let's go to the next part of our counter is on leaves. That's Article 17.
Okay.
Ours, we're basically agreeing with yours, although ours is found on pages 28, 29, and then 31. That's to do with the FMLA, the parental leave, doing away with the parental leave language. Anyway, we like ours because we know that it's current now, under the FMLA. I didn't compare it to what yours was, but we've all been chasing to get the right FMLA year. Our most current proposal states that in there. That's our proposal. I think it's consistent. I think it's 100%
I have
consistent.
that here, I couldn't find that in,
You can't find it.
this was, I got December the 17th, but
Okay.
I
I'll
guess
show it to you.
It's page 28 near the
Look
top.
at 28.
Okay.
So the CHRIC.
Actually, no. Let's see.
It's C at the top of page 28.
Oh, that was a change?
That was what we had, no, that was the
I think it
original
went back
one.
to the
That was the original.
way.
So what happened is HR came to us and they wanted to change it to that weird one.
Right.
And then after a while, they came back to us and said, wait a minute, that's not going to work out. They had a whole bunch of reasons
Put it
why.
back.
So they wanted to put it back to the
Okay.
original.
All right.
And that's what this is. So
Okay.
that's why it's unchanged.
I guess
Okay.
this is the last one you gave us, but I.
Yeah,
I'll find
So-
it for you real quick. Give me a
Yeah, I
minute.
see it.
yeah, he's saying
It's up
that
here.
he's saying they put it back to the original because they decided that
see
wasn't a
it
good
there.
change.
So it's not a change from
Right,
the
so it's not a change,
original.
right here.
Right.
the C.
It was going to be, but it's not.
Right.
It's not
Gotcha.
changed, okay.
Okay, so that's our proposal. We believe it's consistent with everybody's proposals. that they want to
Yeah.
accomplish.
And all this stuff really came from HR, to
Right.
to realign with.
Okay, let's go to Article 20. And I'm looking at, it's a grievance procedure. But before we do that, I want to speak to something else. On the conflict of interest, Article 19, we want to go with our language. It tracks the statute. We got to put in this on page 39 of our proposal, the report of outside activity. We're kind of proposing to leave that change as we proposed it, which references that 1012.977. And that modifies what we originally wanted. This is a more simple version of that. There was more stuff that we wanted, but we backed down on December 17th and just put this in. We want that in there.
Right here.
Then we go to grievance, Article 20.
May just result.
We're going with your change with one modification. We want to maintain bifurcation provision that's in there. We want to take that out. I think that'd be in the interest of either party to take that out. We have agreed with Bob on page 44
Yeah.
on filings and notifications. We've got that language in there about all documents related to grievance required permitted issue may be transmitted by U.S. mail, email, or other recognized delivery. I think we're all in agreement with that. You wanted non-binding mediation. We put that in our proposal on 44 and 45. I'm going to go with that. You see there was one other section here. I think there was something that I wanted to get. AAA and find it here.
It's not because FMCS.
Arbitration.
Yeah, but ours said, it said FMCS from the beginning, I think.
Yeah, it's actually not in here, but we talked about this, line 2333 on page 43, line 2333. We want to change American Arbitration Association to FMCS. And you just, any reference in here to AAA, we change it to Federal Mediation and Conciliation Service.
Okay.
That's that. So we go with our language with the exception of changing, it's not in here to FMCS. That's our proposal on grievance. And of course, that accepts your mediation stuff. Okay, so far?
Yeah.
So at least you understand what I'm saying. Pay, got a counter proposal on that. That's Article 23. That's, I think it's our page 49. Yeah, it's our page 49. Okay, what we're proposing would be a 1.5% bonus, added to the base, a bonus that would be paid as soon as we can after ratification. So it would be in the 22 fiscal year,
Okay, with the 5%,
1.5%.
1.5%.
Yes, sir. And that would be a bonus. And you'd have to have a satisfactory rating and be employed by August of 21. It was a satisfactory rating. That'd be everybody that's eligible. It wouldn't be people that were hired, other than that hiring criteria, dating criteria.
Okay.
Then in addition to that, for the 23 fiscal year, which is 22, 23, which would be most likely in August or so of this year.
So it'd be effective August of 2022?
Yeah, sometime after ratification and within the period of, you got to ratify it and it's got to
Well,
be.
it shouldn't be done before August.
Before, yeah.
It would be in the 22-23 year, beginning of the 22-23 fiscal year. 3.5% to the base. For those, and I'm looking at what we're looking at here. If you turn to our page 50, lines 27, 28, it's just got 22, 23 merit base increase.
Mhm.
We've increased it from the 2% to 3.5%. And what we're doing here is also, we would agree to take out any contingencies
Okay.
for that increase. That's been a major stumbling block for the parties. The same eligibility criteria that we've got stated, in our proposal that we gave you on the 17th of December, except that we're taking out the contingency requirement for that year, okay? The 3.5%. So we've increased that from 2% to 3.5. We've taken out the contingencies. So you got 1.5 right away, and then within a few months, you're going to get another 3.5. But the 1.5 is a bonus, and then the 3.5 is to the base. Does everybody understand that? So
And that would be anybody with 3 or better.
So satisfactory.
On the
It'd
bonus.
be satisfactory.
And what about on the, everybody gets the,
Everybody gets a
in
3,
for the
5.
3.5.
Yeah, but it's distributed according to how we have in our proposal. proposal.
Yeah, we're not in favor of that, to tell you the truth, because it's been such a long time since anybody's got any money, you know? That's why our proposal was that if you get three, as long as you had a three, you get the money.
Well, let's go on with our proposal.
All right.
Yeah, this is our proposal.
Right.
And then we're proposing this be a 3-year contract, and that the last year of the contract, which is the 2024 fiscal year, it would be 2%, an additional 2% for this group, with the contingencies that we placed in there for that year, just for that year, because we don't know what's going to happen in that year, although we fully believe that that'll be funded and will be, like we've done in the past, fully enjoyed by the bargaining unit in that fiscal year.
It was just that the contingencies were really different than they have been in the past.
Same contingency that we have in here, but it won't apply to the 22-23 year. It applies to the same one that we've stated.
Well, I think what Debbie's saying is that the contingencies that were in this offer were different than the ones in the previous contract.
There's like three
Yes, on this
contingencies,
offer, it's the
basically.
ones that we have in our offer that's on the table. We're just modifying, good question. We're modifying to what applicable year it is, okay? So it's not the 22-23 year, it's the 23-24 year. That's where the
Okay.
contingency would be applied.
So I'm just curious, I mean, I was just looking at the BOG proposal, pre-vote, whatever they call it thing. There was $0 in it that were given by the state for performance funding, zero
Yeah.
offered, yeah.
That's right.
So this contingency you're talking about 2 years from now, what are you had 3 pools? What do you have to do to meet those contingencies? I'm just curious.
I mean, because I looked at
sorry,
them,
but
and
I'm
they
not
seemed
sure.
like higher hurdles.
I'm not sure what you're saying you have to do.
Right.
What we've realized is because the state does not, the legislature makes its own policy decisions, I'm not
Right.
criticizing the legislature.
Right.
They have chosen not to fund PBF
Right.
and performance-based funding. So we removed those.
So you remove
Right,
that.
Okay.
So you don't
The new
have to meet
contingency
that.
is We just
Okay.
have a good legislative session.
Well, it says something about positive funding, and it's 3 different,
What line are you on in
uh,
ours, in our proposal? Let's look
it's
at
on the,
language.
it's with the contingencies.
Okay, so contingent upon positive funding of the university's legislative budget request as compared to the level funded in the prior years. I don't see.
So what does, no, it says, so the legislative budget request, when I looked online, has 3 pieces to that, and they're basically performance-based as well.
Well, yes.
I think
And
we're talking about positive funding from the legislature.
So are you
Yeah.
positive funding, does that mean more than last year? And does it mean that of all 3 pieces or in total?
I think it just means we have. a
What
good-
Debbie's saying is correct. When the legislative budget request had multiple pieces and at one point it did have performance-based in it. And
Yes.
so I know
It did
that,
last
I
time.
know that changes. You have to change, modified depending on what the state's decided to fund. But I guess what she's saying is it's leaving us a little bit unaware of.
Like, I don't understand what you
understand
mean,
what the
what you mean
criteria
Right,
exactly.
exactly.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, the most important thing to understand is if the faculty don't get the increase, then we don't have discretion in the year, and then we will immediately go back to the table and try to bargain something in its place. You'll be-
Okay.
The real trigger is in D, where you talk about, look, if we decide we can't fund it, and you'll see that we have the sole discretion to determine that,
Right.
and the remedy is we lose our discretion for that contract, that time of the
1%
contract,
discretion.
Mm-hmm.
and we have to immediately go to the table. We reserve the right to decide if we've gotten the funding right.
Okay, but we're not finished then. It's not over. Then we have it, we're
I
coming
mean,
back
you
to
still go
negotiate.
back and
We have
Okay.
nothing to
negotiate.
lose.
Because it made me nervous that it's like, I don't understand what
That's
positive
a good
funding is
question.
for.
It's a good
what that
question, but
means.
that's how it would mechanically work.
Okay, so positive funding doesn't necessarily mean an increase over last year?
It's a way of saying, you should understand this to mean, if we can find a way to do it, we will do it.
Okay, and if not, we'll come
Everyone-
back to the table.
Yes, and then we'll come back to the table. We've honored every contingency in the past. We just removed the contingency in this next year before the governor assigned to anything.
Right.
We're keeping it in here because we could have a hurricane in the same way that we had a very good legislative session, we hope, and we're grateful for. And that other year, we could have a really bad one. We could have another pandemic.
Yeah.
The Lord help us.
Well, I do feel like if we're coming back to the table, that helps.
Yeah,
that's
we go
always
back to
been
the
our problem.
table.
Okay.
You would not be without any discussion and bargaining for that
Okay.
year.
It's always been in there.
Okay,
But you understand, we've lost all our leverage. We've agreed to everything else in the contract. So we've lost all of our leverage.
But everything is status quo, Bob, with a few exceptions that we've talked about here.
No.
Layoff is status quo.
I'm just
So if we're entering into you're talking about a 2 or 3 year contract, then if the only thing that we can argue about is salary, we've lost leverage on every other article.
That's the only place you truly have leverage because that's where discretion is.
For one place we have leverage, for instance, starting salaries.
That's in the same article. That's in Article 23. That's salaries.
Yeah, and that's part of our proposal. We maintain that 1% discretion too.
So,
That's part of it, to have the 1%, which is the language that we have in here now.
so
What opens is where the cash is, and that seems to be where everybody's got leverage.
So 3.5% would be this year. Then what about next year?
Okay, it's 1.5% bonus right away.
Right,
And then another 3.5% in August of 22 for the 22-23 year.
right. Then what happens
That's the
in
base.
23, 24?
2%.
2% in 20 and 4?
Yes,
Defined
2%.
Okay.
So you got 2% in your third year.
There's
Okay.
contingencies in the third year.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
That's
But it's
right.
And that's it.
contingencies for the 1% as far as discretion, as well as that, we go back to the table if they're,
If the 2%.
we have
I'm just trying
every
to get to the
intention of having the 2% be awarded in the third year.
Here's
We've
how I
always
look
been
at
able
it.
to do that.
This is
We
the
have no
best year,
interest in
this is
coming
the
back to
best
the
year we will ever have with the legislature. This is the best freaking year. Because we have the politics. Next year, the people in charge ain't gonna be from Hillsborough County or Pinal. We're not gonna have those people anymore up there, and they're gonna get money for their district. We got money this time. That's why we're lucky. It ain't gonna- I just think it ain't gonna happen
The
next year.
good thing about the 2% though, is that it's in the contract and we're gonna have to do our best we can to get it done. And so it could be, if you don't have that third year, it could be 0.
Oh, I know
That would
that.
be at the table. 2% is like a bird in the hand, y'all. This is something that we think is good for the university as well as y'all. And it shows that that's what we're pushing for. That's what we believe is gonna happen.
If it doesn't come through, we're back at the table. But
On salary.
On the
That's
salary, but
our
layoff is the
mathematician
same
over
as
there.
it's always been. We've agreed on discipline, that nothing else has changed there. Academic freedom is as it has been in the contract for decades. What are the other, the recognition article we've agreed to? I don't know what you are losing in this deal because it's a massively status quo deal, and we're not even done going through ours.
Yeah, I've got a few more.
Right. Okay.
Okay, let's go
Is
through.
I was
the
gonna
other
ask you about, is the reason for all right, I'm gonna confirm, because I know that this is probably the case. The pool you're talking about now that we're consolidated is the department across campuses.
Yes.
Okay, because again, this is the biggest problem we've had with St. Pete, Sarasota, is a smaller pool. So you got the same ranking and
But you don't get as
you're
much
got the
money.
same assignment, but you're making $20,000 less because your pool for 10 years has been smaller. So your raises $1,000 instead of $2,000 each year, and that goes on. And so I guess what this now does is it puts you back on an even footing. But if you are behind and you got 1.5%, you were rated outstanding, and you got 3.5%, and somebody in Tampa was rated outstanding, same rank, they got 3.5%. They're still climbing even further ahead of you. And I mean, and so I'm just pointing out to you that it's not really resolving one of those issues that still keeps coming up. So
I think what I'm hearing you say, Steve, and
Yeah.
we're hearing you,
Yeah.
is that we've got it here that we can use that 1% for that issue.
that would
That
be
we
really
need to
good.
start looking at that. is what you're saying. I think that's what he's saying.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can't agree specifically to devote that, but that's a
Right.
category of discretion.
Right,
So
we're
that's
already
something that
behind.
he's concerned that we haven't been doing.
Okay, I'm pointing out that when you do this pool this way, you're maintaining
All right.
or
Okay.
continuing the discrepancy.
Okay, you made
All right.
a good point. All right, let's go through look at page 55 of this article, benefits, Article 24. It's just going with our proposal on tuition assistance.
Yeah.
That y'all, we're there. We just want to go with our language.
Something's better than nothing, I guess.
Yeah, well,
No.
we think it's a great benefit, and you don't underestimate the value of that to people.
It's like program details and operation eligibility requirements, funding levels determined by university be consistent with the requirements of our statutes. I'm not sure what the requirements of Florida statutes are. Yeah, I don't know.
It's up on the web on the HR site already.
So the other thing is duration. We go with, that's Article
This is-
29. We go with our proposal for a 3-year agreement.
Okay.
You said
All right.
something about wanting to get to the table in February, I think, in yours. Is that right? Is that really, we have duration of ours. I don't want to talk about that.
We only had a 1-year contract.
Yeah, ours was 1 year.
Okay, so you're, okay, well, anyway, we propose, when you go back to the table, it says, renegotiation of a successor agreement will begin later in, we got March, not February, March. So,
March
know,
15th.
I mean, we would consider February if you thought that was critical, but we think that March is plenty of time.
Given the
Because
way the
March first,
legislature.
what happens? We don't know much in that.
Yeah,
early on.
March 1st.
We want to go with our appendices, which includes the revisions that Jim went through in Appendix F, that y'all have had now, that addresses, I think, a lot of the concerns that you've raised and how that's worked. So, we believe, you spent hours on that.
Yeah, I did the
Yeah.
best I could, and I've shared it with the UFF.
So,
And by the way, we have also fixed it so that you are no longer asking your members for their social security number.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's probably illegal.
I think our appendices take care of the issues like that.
Thanks, Jim.
confidentiality. And, but no, other than that one Appendix F, they're largely the same, that we had. And y'all already had. So we believe this proposal
I'm gonna look and see what
that
y'all
we've given
did.
you is one that we ought to be able to get some money in people's hands right away. And then in August, there'll be another increase, but to the base of 3.5%. And then just get the 1% discretion.
Neither one of you mentioned it, but I'm assuming that we've added in all those titles of, research,
Yeah,
people and
Oh, yeah, we
things that
needed-
were missing, I think, didn't we,
on the promotion stuff,
on the,
we added
We
the,
did not-
Promotions.
That was not part of our proposal.
okay, because I thought when we were changing titles, but we were now including a category of people that were left out,
And
that
that was
were the
some
clinical and
associate
research people or
research.
Promotion
something.
you're talking about,
Yeah,
yes.
nobody mentioned it today so far, that's why I brought it up.
that was not included in our proposal. It's
Okay.
another expense that you were wanting us to, build into the agreement.
You're talking about the promotion of
Yeah.
research
Right,
associate to
yes.
We presented it
research
to you today.
professor.
Yes,
Yeah, what we have determined is that most of the all the departments that have those kinds of people are doing that already. They typically, when they promote, as far well, maybe you know
that-
somebody that's not.
Exactly.
you're not, right?
Oh, I've been told to wait, basically.
Are they waiting on the contract? Don't
That
know.
would be the
It's always
right
been
answer.
at the dean's discretion.
Is it the dean's discretion
No,
to,
no one should be putting forward increases right now in faculty.
right?
Yeah, they can't.
They
Right.
can't.
Right.
But that's a
But
different
they don't
issue.
even have a promotion path.
No, I mean, they don't have a promotion
They have
path
nothing.
for some of those people.
Okay.
I don't know. I'll leave that to Jim. You're the one I thought that did the analysis of the different titles or somebody.
Well, I looked at the number of research faculty that could be promoted in academic affairs. It was
Okay.
like 47 people that are either assistant research professor or associate research professor. And as far as what happens, I know a lot of them in geosciences get a raise when they get promoted. I know the ones in BCS typically get raises. Remember, a lot of these are funded from grants, so it's a question of the
Okay.
grant having the funding for it. So that's one of the reasons why we may not be able to put it in here. But if somebody this year is trying to get a raise, they can't because of we don't have the
Right.
contingency right now, as far as I know.
Right.
It can be written into the grant. We don't have any issue with that. If the
Okay.
grant funds it.
Yeah, I think that the complaints we've had have been from some research people and some clinical people. But I haven't studied it. I haven't looked at the numbers. I thought that was a report that I saw that was presented at one of the meetings we were at. That's
I
why I
think
was
that has
asking.
to be looked at. I think, Jim, you are looking into this. issue.
Yeah, I am.
And so, you know,
There are a
we're-
certain proportion of us who are not funded on grants, we're usually.
ENG, and they haven't had a raise. in-
Yeah, we're talking about people who are not on grants in some cases, yeah.
And you mentioned geoscience, and pretty much all of us in geoscience are not funded on grants.
In where?
Geoscience.
In geosciences?
And I
Yeah,
know a
no,
number
you're,
of chemistry who aren't in biology as well.
and they haven't been getting raises or haven't been getting raises on?
Hasn't been getting promotions at all.
They don't have a promotion
There's no
track.
pathway.
Right, so we have a promotion track that we are working on, definitely, but it does not include anything about raises. That would be up to the unit that has them. So that's where we are now, but the Senate just sent me back their comments on the research promotion track.
The reason I mentioned it was partly because I had heard talk at the Senate meeting.
Yeah.
And I wasn't on the committee that was doing that.
Right.
But there was a discussion about it. It didn't come up today. That's why I was mentioning.
Yeah, I don't believe
Okay.
that
Well, we haven't
specifies what raise they would get.
Okay.
My question is the bonus, the 1.5% bonus and the 3.5%. When would you have to be employed by to be qualified for those?
It would be August 1 of 2021. For the bonus.
For the bonus, and I don't, for the 3.5, it'd probably be,
Let me look at we got it in our 23 already.
Well, they'd have to have an annual review or they
Yeah,
couldn't
they have to
do
have
it. So they would have to have been,
That's right.
right. Yeah, they would have to have had an annual review.
August, it would be August 7, 22. For the 22-23 year.
they wouldn't have, Steve, right, they wouldn't have an evaluation on that.
It's the most recent evaluation.
They wouldn't have one, they just started.
Yeah.
Well, we got here, I don't think it's just, this is, says the eligibility, this is the eligibility.
Yeah.
Right there.
Employed on or August.
See, the annual evaluations are calendar
Well, that means they
year.
wouldn't get it, because they wouldn't have an evaluation.
Well, so they hired in August of 2021, they're only here for like 4 months. So they wouldn't get an annual.
They wouldn't have an
evaluation,
annual review.
Right?
It would be a half of an annual evaluation.
Yeah, they wouldn't have any.
This
Oh,
guy-
yeah, you're right. They would have
They
something in
would have
writing.
a half of an annual evaluation,
Yeah.
because they would have been evaluated for the fall.
It's gotta be before that day. We're not saying, so you would, some of them would have an evaluation if they were before that date. So we're saying that, yeah, if you were just hired on that day, you wouldn't have an evaluation. I guess limited,
Before.
yeah, on or before, is what we say. You gotta be employed on or before August 1 of 22 in order to get the 22-23 raise.
Then they would have it in.
But we're talking right now about, what about this 3.5 now? That's what I'm talking about. When
Which
do you
is
have
the
to be,
22-23 year.
to get the 3.5, when do you have to be hired by?
Not sure.
August 1 of 2022. August 7th is what we have.
It's usually the 7th.
Gerard, if somebody were hired in August of last year, let's say August of 21, they would have had their fall semester in the evaluation. So would that be enough?
That's a good question.
People-
Because if
So
so,
the-
then we could include the people that were hired in this year, this past fall.
We really like to get this to as many faculty as possible,
Well, then we should allow it then.
as long as they have an evaluation.
Because they would have an annual evaluation,
It
just
would
wouldn't
just
be
be
a
for one
real,
semester.
right?
It'd be a one semester evaluation.
Yes.
Right. It
That's
would
okay.
still be called an
Yeah.
annual evaluation in their record.
Yeah.
They get a
Oh,
proportionate.
would they get a proportional? No, they get the full.
They get
the full
Yeah,
raise.
they
I
get
gotta
the-
figure that
usually it's whoever's up
85% of
that
the
date.
faculty ain't gonna be happy when they didn't get not a damn thing for 2 years. They're giving people that were just hired this kind of raise. I'm telling you right now. I don't think they would be,
Yeah, I would
I would not
probably
be
hear that.
happy. Would you be happy to have somebody just hired at a really high salary because they're getting market and now they get this raise? But you haven't got anything for the last 2 years? I don't think so. I wouldn't vote for it. If I knew those people couldn't get the money, I wouldn't do it. I don't think it's fair. Yeah, I represent everybody, and that's why I'm trying to figure that, maybe we could say they don't get the money, we increase the bonus.
See, you're always trying to pull money from one group. and give it to
Well, that's
another.
right, because that's the way it
And
works.
that's-
But the bonus would be better money for you in a way, because it's a one-time deal, otherwise it's in here. Well, we'll talk about it, but, I'm just saying, yeah, you say we represent everybody, right, we represent everybody, and we're trying to be fair to everybody, and some people don't get as much as other people. And I still think that we would have to insist on the 3.5 as anyone who is satisfactory. Because no money for all these years, no. We have to get this approved, we can agree to anything we want here at the table, and then we have to sell it to the people.
Yes, you do.
Well, that's a good question.
We agree with that. We think that our proposal.
John, what we don't want to do, and you would agree, we don't want to put this out there and have it defeated. Boy, I don't want that. That's the last thing in the world that I want, is for us to put something out there and it get voted down.
I mean, I see what you're saying, the people that have been hired with the package deals and the research money and the all that stuff, and they've only been here one semester.
Yeah, I'm getting
And
money.
then you've got people that
That
haven't
nothing.
Haven't
gotten
had a
anything
raise
for
in
2
3 years, yeah.
And they were already
That's the kind of criteria.
at a salary that they may have thought was not up to par with the new
Yeah,
people.
but
I don't- I think
So
we
that
don't
you do
have
run the
to
risk that
run
some
Yeah, no
people, I don't know,
version.
I don't know how many people you're talking about, but there may be some that react to that.
So you're proposing, you're thinking about the criteria would be, you have to be
Yeah.
here,
So
August
now they're throwing
of
in-
7 of
They just mix
21
it different, yeah.
instead of 22.
Prior to August the 7th of.
Yeah, that's what,
That's
that
what
day,
Greg's saying.
Yeah.
instead of 22.
They didn't really change the salary.
That's one thing we're thinking about. I gotta talk to everybody here.
We would consider
I'm just trying to
that.
look at what's fair.
We would consider that to get this agreement done and to get people paid, and get this agreement still, a 3-year contract, we would consider
I
that.
thought we did.
You know,
Maybe.
We
It's
absolutely
not
do.
exactly what we want,
we do.
but, if
find
if that's a hurdle for you, you think, and you tell us that, we can be flexible on that.
So let me make sure I understand this. So what you want is the bonus this year to only be given to people who have been here, who were hired no later than the fall of 2020? So it would exclude people,
No.
it would
I
exclude
want
people
more.
hired in
That's what I'm
21?
thinking.
Is that right?
And that the 20, yeah, you're saying that, and the 22, 23 would be August, whatever of,
Wait a minute, what's the point in
22.
excluding them if we're not giving the other people more money?
Well, that's what we're gonna talk about.
Well, that's-
We're gonna talk about that.
Okay, because I'm
If we're
wondering.
excluding a bunch of people, then that gives more money for the other people.
well, that.
We'll look at
I was gonna
that.
tell you, That's not gonna fly, okay, with us. Y'all can talk about it all you want, but with that, that's not gonna fly. So you might as well know that now. We've given you our best authority today that we have, and we believe it's a wonderful deal. Y'all
See if we
decide
can
what you want,
find that
because I know
in there.
in a Senate meeting, somebody said that Dickinson tried to browbeat us, said, you've got to get an agreement. You don't have to.
I think it's under.
I'll say this to the camera.
What is that?
You don't have to. It's
Well,
up
I
to
know
you.
that.
It's up to you. It's up to you. It's up to you. We just believe it's time.
I didn't hear anybody say that, but my guess would be it was great.
Well, okay, I watched everything intently, and I was surprised at what I heard. I've got.
Okay, so that it is in there. Is this it?
Disappointed.
Could I suggest?
Yeah, and I think, yeah,
It's the-
and they're mentioned in the page before
Annual
too.
faculty evaluations are based on calendar year rather than academic year. It's always confusing for everybody.
This is.
So essentially, someone who came last spring has a complete evaluation because they were here for a calendar year. So I would like to set it at January 1st, 2021, because that way they've been evaluated for 2 academic
For a full
semesters that fall in the same calendar year.
January 1,
Because that's the
2021.
cycle that the evaluations are based on.
Is that for the 22, 23 year, the 3.5?
We need to caucus and talk.
What about for the bonus?
Let's caucus and talk about this, all right?
I would like to use January 1st, 2021 as the cutoff date.
Show
For
both.
both?
depending
page
on
12.
consensus.
We did
Well,
put it
I
in
call it-
ours.
Yeah.
About the research
But
paper.
it's just logical in terms of.
We had- I
Well, I know
thought
we had that in there.
Yeah.
You say
So they're
proposed,
not, they're rejecting that completely. Is that
I'm
correct?
afraid to agree with you because then they'll disagree.
Yeah.
Jim says, let's hope no. No, that's not.
Well,
Well, they,
I'm just kidding.
It's a rash.
they said, no, he's thinking about it, there's not any money.
here's the part that I was talking about since Zach brought it up. In our proposal, we had said in 8.4, it's on page 12 in ours. It says all non-tenured earning professors in 9 and 12 months regularly paid positions receiving promotions would get 9%. In addition, employees promoted to research assistant professor with a $3,000 base increase.
Well, you
and
don't get
research
promoted to
associate-
research assistant, so that's a typo.
Research associate.
A research, yeah. So anyway, I'm just pointing out, we did in fact had proposed that. I don't
Yes,
know,
you
it's-
did.
there are very few people that affects though.
Steve, you did propose
Okay,
that. We're not
okay.
debating that at all.
All right,
This
just,
was in your proposal.
But
Their understanding, you didn't want to agree to that, right?
That's
You-
right. I don't have
okay.
the authority for that.
you don't have the authority, that's the issue.
Yeah, we don't have, we don't know how much that costs. And so we gotta make sure that we can do it. We certainly have no objection where it can be put into a grant, understanding that there are faculty in these categories that aren't on grants. which is
Right.
Something we need to look at. And there's nothing in our proposal that would stop a department or a college from.
They're just
Doing
not,
that.
some of them just aren't
Yeah,
doing
I
it.
understand that, but just, I think up to now they've been saying, I can't go back in history, but there's no reason they couldn't do it when we have discretion if they have the funds.
Mhm.
They might have other reasons for doing it.
And
I'm
so
not
you
saying
can
they're
talk
good
to them,
reasons or
Jim.
bad reasons.
Oh,
I'm
it's
just
time
saying
to
that.
take
be
care of
able to
that.
do it.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
The other possibility about bonuses, like
Yeah,
you
thank
say,
you.
they gave a cash bonus, it was $2,500. Now, that helps lower paid people rather than higher paid people. So if you're making $200,000 a year, let's say you got a 2% bonus, you get $4,000. If you gave $2,000, they only got a 1%. So I mean, I understand that too, that the percentages
Percentage is
help.
better than just a flat.
Well,
Right.
well, percentages.
No, not
No,
for
no, no,
me.
percentages help the higher paid people,
Yeah,
higher paid people. That's who the percentages help.
Oh,
Okay.
I hear what you're saying. You're
Right.
saying that you think that, yeah, because of the lower paid people getting proportionally more money.
I'm just pointing that out.
no, like I would know, on a 1.5%, I get less money than 2,500.
Yeah. right. That's what I said.
So your argument is for a fixed.
But I'm saying
Bonus as opposed to a
percentages
percent bonus.
help the higher paid people
Yeah.
compared to the lower paid
Right.
people.
Right,
Where cash bonuses help the lower paid people.
That's
in
right.
comparison to.
That's
Like,
right.
let's say I make $100,000 a
I
year,
get it.
I get $2,500, I get a 2.5%.
Right.
But if you give me 2%, you know, like,
We could do it as a pool and divvy it up that way, I guess.
yeah, but we're not, I don't understand why the pool would help. We're
It's
not
what the
looking-
GAU did.
Yeah, but we're not looking at the evaluations on the bonus. We're
The
not gonna
high
say,
paid people are faced with, inflationary problems.
no matter what you're making,
I mean, yeah.
but it hurts the lower paid
I believe
people
that
worse, the
1.5
inflation.
is the way to do
Yeah.
it. And do it as a bonus that way.
The rich paid people put gas in the cars like the poor paid people. I could put so many gallons of
But
the
most
grocery
of the
report,
time,
no matter.
They've been here longer, they're more senior. And, anyway, you could,
No,
it
the
sounds
higher
to me
paid
like you're
people are
talking
not
against
more
some of your people in
senior.
your unit, but
The higher paid people are not more senior usually.
not always.
Not usually.
Not now.
Not normally.
Used to
Usually
be,
the
but
new
not
people make
now.
way more money.
So what do you want to do?
We're at the caucus for a minute.
All right,
You
give
don't
us a
want-
minute.
You don't want to do the 1.5%? We can take that out of our proposal.
Can I just ask a quick question? Just coming from a regional campus perspective, is there a plan to address the student salary discrepancies between the regional campuses and Tampa? Because I don't see anything in here,
No.
but maybe I missed.
There's a long-term look at that's in the president's office, but it's not,
It's outside of this process.
it's way outside of this process.
So I noticed in the budget from the BOG that we don't know whether that'll actually happen, but that's the one that they sent out or whatever.
Yeah.
They did give 3 million to St. Pete and another 1 million to Sarasota in whatever kind of pot it comes in. And I suppose, and this has been my experience on the regional campus, and because I was 10 years here and then 10 years there, it would be really cool if the chancellors and deans at those locations actually used whatever discretionary money or budget they got for some kind of salary
Yeah, that's good.
equities and stuff, but they don't seem to want to, or that hasn't worked. Now that we're under a bigger umbrella and we have a common dean and department, maybe there'd be some way to do that, but I don't know. It's, it definitely is something we hear a lot about. And I'm kind of agreeing with you. It's,
Like Bob said, this might even accelerate that and make that gap wider.
yeah, that's what I'm worried about. We're doing something that for overall is good, but it may even accelerate this discrepancy. So keep your eye on that.
The question there is, do you hold up the agreement? And maybe the alternative is we need to sit down after we have an agreement and we've got these increases and talk about promotion increases for the research assistant to associate in this issue.
Yes.
But I don't think you hold up an agreement for that. I think you
Right.
you commit to some dates where we can talk about those issues. I don't
Yeah.
think anyone wants to be unfair to someone who's earned.
I don't think we
promotion.
wanted to hold up the agreement over that. Jim already committed to look at
Right.
it.
Yeah, I think we're working on it, and it can't come soon enough. If you've been waiting 8 years for a raise for work,
Right.
something you've earned, then it's something we should commit to looking at.
Have you calculated what the 1.5% bonus would cost you?
I didn't bring that with me, but we have done that.
Give me an idea.
I don't have it with me. I didn't
Well, what is
bring it.
1% of the in-unit base?
What's 160 million, 170 million now?
So 1% of that.
What's 1.5? The bonus says 1.5. So what's 1.5 of, what, 170 million?
I can give you the cost out of this proposal, probably on Monday, Bob. I just don't have it with me right now.
You don't want to put numbers down without
Mhm.
being able to be sure what they are.
Like I say, a cash amount helps the lower paid people.
Okay.
I mean, just giving it, that's why,
Right.
that's why UCF, it's
It's a fair question.
$2,500.
I just don't have it right now.
Okay.
Will we know, the governor, is the deadline Monday for him to, I think it's 15 days after the
Well,
legislature?
that's the thing. Our proposal is it. I mean, so it's not
Yeah.
like we're going out on a limb. We're doing this without the governor,
Contingencies, right, without,
So, yeah, it's possible the governor will say no.
I don't think I think it's when he receives the budget. I don't know if he
Here,
has or not.
I looked at the Constitution, it's 7 days that the legislature's still in session, 15 days that the legislature is not in session. So they gave him the budget after I think,
Okay, well then-
so adjourned, so I think it's Monday.
Probably
Yeah,
next
I
week.
think
He has
it's-
to ask for it. I don't know if he's asked for it.
Ask for the budget? He
Mhm.
didn't say
So he
Yeah.
can wait all the way to the end.
Yeah, because I've seen, they wait sometimes.
He can wait until,
To ask for it.
yeah, like June 15th, I think.
Yeah, I think it's in
oh,
June.
wow, yeah.
So he
Oh,
has
geez.
to ask for it. It's not just given to him.
Yeah, it's not, and certainly I think.
Well, I'm sure he's not gonna cut the 35 million for cancer research. You gonna do that?
Don't know.
So do we need a caucus or?
I need to call, yeah, I mean,
Step out.
Okay.
well, we can leave, I don't care.
No, we'll go. How long do you
Nowhere
need?
to go.
Not very long.
You have my cell number, you just buzz me.
You gonna be next door?
My cell number is 904
Oh, you're gonna go up, it
626.
won't be that long.
5605. Just let us know. and we'll come
Okay.
I'm not up on the top floor. I'm just up on.
I'm not going any place tonight anyhow.
Um,
Yeah.
Went to a political fundraiser for Kathy Castor yesterday.
Stream the caucus or-
I don't know. Yeah, we don't want to
Do
stream
we
the
want to put
caucus.
the stream the caucus?
No.
Yeah.
We don't want
So
to.
cut off the-
Yeah, don't
I
go
know,
near,
right?
don't go
They're
near
gonna go up and
windows.
turn their TV. So, Greg, you're
Oh,
cutting
man.
this, what volume?
I am I'm going to end the stream.
Any cookies out there still?
No.
Nothing sweet.
Greg ate all the
Greg.
brownies.
Just those wraps.
So